House of Representatives seeks lower airfares. President Tinubu sends 2026 to 2028 framework as House summons CBN governor. And House meets finance and budget ministers behind closed doors. Welcome to You and Your Reps, that program that brings you inside the debates and decisions shaping Nigeria's Green Chamber. I'm Victor Azu. Let's begin. In a bid to ease travel this festive season, the House of Representatives is urging the federal government to cut airport charges and auxiliary taxes by 50%, a move lawmakers believe will help bring down airfares and encourage economic activity.
The move by lawmakers to push for affordable air travel for citizens is seen as a timely intervention, as many Nigerians typically travel to their hometowns and tourist destinations, often at great expense. By advocating reduced airport charges, lawmakers hope to make air travel more affordable and accessible to a larger segment of the population.
The unprecedented rise in air travel costs poses a direct threat to security, to life, to tradition that unite our society during this cherished festive moment.
What the airlines operators in Nigeria have done in the past 12 hours is completely uncalled for. Airline operators should be called to order.
Landing cost has been increased, parking has been increased, even staying on the air, because we don't have a full total radar coverage.
Aside that, you are aware that the pressure on the airlines is because the roads are not safe.
Urge the federal government to reduce the airport and other auxiliary charges by 50%.
A bill to amend the Central Bank Act scaled second reading, with key reforms proposed to enhance checks and balances in the leadership and fiscal operations of the Apex Bank.
To separate the role of governor and the board of director chairman to avoid concentration of powers.
I am particularly encouraged that this bill should be passed with the speed of the light because of this very point, that for any process or for any government to undertake any policy of redesign of Naira or change of Naira denomination, it has to have the backing of the institution of the legislature.
Another bill to establish the Armed Forces Medical College FCT also scaled second reading.
To provide for the training of medical and allied health professionals for the Armed Forces of Nigeria and other services, to promote research and innovation in military and paramilitary medicine, and for related matters 2025 to be read a second time.
Meanwhile, the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee investigating unauthorized bank deductions from accounts of public servants has asked CEOs of the affected commercial banks to appear before the panel with requested documents or face sanctions.
Deducting money from civil servants without using it to do whatever you have claimed to do for them must stop. And those that are found guilty, we will recommend for their prosecution.
The committee expressed determination to uncover discrepancies and ensure that banks are held accountable for their actions.
President Bola Tinubu has sent the 2026 to 2028 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper to the House for consideration. Meanwhile, lawmakers have summoned CBN Governor Olayemi Cardoso over alleged unremitted remitter charges.
There's a letter from Mr. President.
The President informed the House of Representatives that the 2026 to 2028 medium-term expenditure framework and fiscal strategy paper approved by the Federal Executive Council will guide the preparation of the 2026 appropriation bill.
I seek the cooperation of the National Assembly for expeditious legislative action on the submission.
The resolution to invite the CBN governor followed a motion by Representative Bamidele Salam that the Apex Bank is evading explanation about non-remittance of more than 11 trillion naira accruing to government from charges in the remitter system.
The Central Bank of Nigeria has failed, refused, or neglected to honor the invitations or effect
the required remittances as directed by the committee.
Mr. President should pay attention to this revelation from a committee that is a creation of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
An attempt to amend the motion to refer the investigation to an ad hoc committee and not the Public Accounts Committee led to a rowdy session where the Speaker had to caution some lawmakers.
Honorable Marquez said, clearly stated in our rule book, and the Public Accounts Committee,
this is very unparliamentary. Honorable Marquez said, I'm on you. If you don't stop this behavior, believe me sincerely, and Honorable Kabir Mepalas will take you to ethics.
This committee, as every other committees, if they had gone this far, I don't want us to frustrate them.
In the light of this, I'm hereby withdrawing that amendment to refer this matter to the Standing Committee.
Adopting another motion, the House asked the Central Bank to grant waivers on all outstanding COVID-19 survival loans.
Continued automatic debits and aggressive recoveries are inflicting severe hardships on vulnerable Nigerians, risking the collapse of small businesses, worsening unemployment, and heightening social instability.
Meanwhile, the gale of defections continue as two lawmakers from Bayelsa State dumped the PDP for the APC.
Meanwhile, a motion by Representative Omosede Igbinedion is pushing back strongly against the proposed Toru-be state. Supported by 3 Edo lawmakers, she argues that carving out parts of the Benin Kingdom threatens its heritage, identity, and long-standing history.
The name of the proposed state is Toru-be State, right? Where a great portion of Ovia federal constituency that I represent will be, well, not will be, they are asking that it is ceded to that state. The Toru-be state also goes into parts of Delta, majorly parts of Delta, part of Ondo, and part of Edo State. And the part of Edo State that it's taking, although it's a huge chunk of my constituency, it is minimal compared to what they're trying to take out of Delta. You know, and then of course we look at the economic benefits of this state being created, and Edo State being an oil-producing state. Parts of the state in which they're trying to take is majorly oil-producing. So what is left for the Edo people in terms of economic viability? You know, so there is everything wrong with this. The Benin Kingdom is one of Nigeria's most prominent kingdoms. This is a kingdom that dates back over 1,200, years, and it is so important historically to Nigeria as a whole. And I believe that any well-meaning Nigerian would not want to see a kingdom like that disintegrate. You know, the Benin Kingdom was able to weather the storms through the colonial era and keep out the colonialists and, manage to triumph through that. Through the British invasion, you saw that the Benins stood their ground, and with the Great Wall of Benin that is today, even though, not much of it is traceable, but it's one of the greatest walls. It challenges the Great Wall of China. We have so much historical background, and the president, I believe, is trying to hold on to what is very important to us, which is our cultural heritage. I believe Mr. President is very interested. Why do I say so? Look at the return of the Benin artifacts. It was something that was greatly heralded, all because it was of such great importance to the Benin Kingdom and to the world at large. We can't be doing something with one hand and taking with the other. We are there, and we're delighted to have back our bronzes, and the world is, giving back and trying to rebuild a kingdom and put back pieces and puzzles of that kingdom that were missing. If there is somewhere to be sliced, it is certainly not the Benin Kingdom. That we have non-indigens living in Edo State, right? We have tribes, but these tribes are minority tribes. These tribes are not custodians of this land that we're talking about here. So Benin land is not up for sale. You know, it's something that is, like I said, practically sacrilegious. It's absolutely impossible. It is unheard of. Benin people say it's awa. It's not possible. It's forbidden. It's not even a topic of discussion. You know, we are proud of that stool. We are proud of the Benin Kingdom. And I believe the Benin Kingdom is one of the prides of Nigeria.
In the week under review, the House also met behind closed doors with the Ministers of Finance and Budget. The 2.5-hour session chaired by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin saw both sides keep discussions under wraps. However, lawmakers have recently raised concerns over delays in implementing the capital component of the 2025 budget. The constitutional amendment debate scheduled for the week was suspended to allow for the engagement. Afterward, the Speaker announced the defection of Mansour Musa of Alero Gwandu Jega Federal Constituency to the APC. Elsewhere, the House has ordered an investigation into their alleged shooting of unarmed protesting women by soldiers in Lamode, Adamawa State. The motion was moved by Representative Kwamoti Bitrus Lowry, who we engaged after plenary for deeper insight.
The women simply came out to show their displeasure on the lukewarm and lackadaisical attitude of the security forces in responding to security issues. There was a communal clash on which some of the dwellings, villages were overrun by another community, the Chobo. And of course, nothing was done. A lot of people were killed. And these same people again attacked them. And one person was killed. And as at the time they came in, that happened in the night. But the military and the security forces were nowhere to be seen. And so these women were saying, look, how can we continue with this? So they came out to protest to show their displeasure about the happenings. The military came quite okay and proceeded. So the women were still there. So when they are coming back, because they were escorting their commander, you know, so they just stopped, and then one of the military men just jumped down, kneeled down, and just opened fire on these defenseless women. None of these women is carrying anything, no stick, no stone, no even leaves. They were just there, opened fire on them. And scores of them were killed. Even as we are speaking now, some of them have life-threatening injuries. As of today, we have a count of 11 women killed, including children, because there is a 12-year-old and there is a 9-year-old involved in this. So how can military people trained with taxpayer money don't know the etiquette of their job to open fire on women? It's unpardonable, it's unimaginable that this thing is going to happen here. When we have security issues where they are going to flex their muscles and show their power, is it on the defenseless women? Why in the rule of engagement can you just open fire on the defenseless? Not even women, any other person that is not armed or not attacking you. Really, this is uncalled for, and we are calling on full investigation. We are not going to allow this. We must insist that the right thing is done. And we are not. This is not the first time this kind of scenario is happening in our place. It has happened before, but believe you me, this time around we are not going to take it lying low. We must ensure that justice is done in respect of this matter, and these lives are not lost in vain. the governor has made effort towards reconciliation. He has called for a peace meeting, and there was a peace meeting, and an assignment was given, that, look, you, the youths, you are always at the center of this. Go and meet at a neutral venue. Meet, and then come back and report to the paramount ruler. And this was done 3 days after, this attack happened. They came in, in the night, they attacked, and surprisingly, no any security presence during that attack in the night until the following day in the afternoon. So how can people not come out and complain on not quick response of a situation of this magnitude? Women are saying, look, we are tired of our men and children, our husbands, just being killed and nothing is being done. And then this is the way the military is going to respond? No. It's uncalled for. We can't take it.
In today's program, we are breaking down commencement date. It is one of those rarely used or required terms in a legislature. And why is it so? Chairman of the House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waive, will do the honors.
The term commencement date is used in some legislations, not every legislation. For most legislations, the day the president or the governor signs the law, the bill into law, is the commencement date for many legislations. But for a few, a date is usually fixed ahead so that the system gets ready for the law to begin to take effect. So the day it begins to take effect, that becomes the commencement date. Take the recent tax bills that were signed into law by Mr. President. It states a commencement date because there's a need for the process to be streamlined, prepared for it to take off. And for the tax bills is the 1st of January 2026. Otherwise, the day the president signs the law is the day it commences. The Appropriation Act, for instance, the president might sign it on the 30th of December or on the 1st of December, but if the financial year begins the 1st of January, commencement date is the 1st of January. But those legislations that specifies the date of commencement is what we refer to when we start saying commencement date in any piece of legislation.
This week on the committee segment, we focus on the House Committee on Renewable Energy. We sat down with Chairman AFAM Victor Ogene to understand its mandate and the progress so far.
Because it's new, our job is to set the templates.
Right now, renewable energy projects are scattered across different MDAs. And so, while we have the oversight mechanism of all of these projects and policies, there are also specific committees that oversight some of these agencies. I give you a practical example. The Rural Electrification Agency, which is supposed to bring electricity to the underserved, which are mainly in the rural communities, the underserved communities, there is a standing committee oversighting the Rural Electrification Agency. But 80% of what they do is renewable. Mini grids, solar lights, wind, and all of that. Hydro, a lot of the chunk of what it constitutes renewable energy in Nigeria is what Rural Electrification Agency does. Even the grants that come in through the World Bank and other development partners are managed by the Rural Electrification Agency. So you see that there is a disconnect between that and the actual committee that does the work. But because we are one house, we still manage to get on. We are not just interested in only the oversight functions. Part of our duties is also to bring up policies and laws that will make it profitable for people to invest in the sector. Right now, all the solar panels, which is the one that is very common to the average Nigerian, all the solar panels that are coming, we have a standard organization that ought to look at quality. But because of other things that they engage with, different kinds of solar panels come in. And when they install, you just pick anybody by the roadside and install. You install inferior materials, which is why there is no standardization in the industry. So you see this solar street light, and after 3 months, it's gone. Meanwhile, the problem could just be battery. It could just be adjustment. It could just be debt has covered, certain components. But because there is no agency in charge of looking after these critical infrastructure, because when you have street lights, it helps in security. A heater to dark street will be lit up, and criminally minded people will not operate under the full glare of solar street lights. So the House recently passed a resolution for us to investigate improper domiciliation of green energy jobs, including solar, in NDAs that don't even have the core mandate to go into that. They just award it as contract. Tell me how a federal cooperative college will be installing streetlights. What do they know? Do they have the technical manpower? Do they know that there are installers, certificated by the Nigerian Electricity Management Service Agency, NEMSA?
And that's where we leave you on You and Your Reps this week. Thank you for staying with us. I am Victor Azo. I'll see you next time.